Greetings, shippers! In the spirit of updates, it's time to revisit Klance, the pairing of Keith and Lance from Voltron Legendary Defender. Before we get into it, I'm thrilled to announce that this episode is sponsored by Voltron Amino, the app that allows you to express your Voltron fandom to your heart's desire, with discussions, quizzes, fics, and more. And it's the more that brings us here today, because we're going to be doing a fan art contest. That's right, submit your original Klance fan art on the Voltron Amino with the hashtag OriginalKlance for a chance to win one of two $25 Amazon gift cards. Winners to be selected by me by July 13th, 2017. This will take place on the app, but I will also share them here on this channel in an upcoming Voltron video. If you're submitting an older piece, be sure to also show an image of the work in progress. So head on over and download the Voltron Amino for both Android and iOS platforms. And get in on the contest. I can't wait to see all your art. Follow me on Twitter at Shipper's Guide to keep up with prize announcements, etc. So let's get cracking and see just how fun the Voltron Amino community can be. And now, let's get started. I was going to talk about Sheath or Shallura, but then, well, some stuff happened. As mentioned in my Harley Ivy update, it can be difficult talking about certain cultural products that are ongoing, as the landscape around them tends to be in flux, and this is definitely the case with Klance, even though the show is in between seasons at the time of this recording. As a ship, Klance's popularity has continued to grow, and it continues to dominate, having a very real presence on the fan scene. For example, even having panels dedicated to it at Anime North. One component of this pairing that fans are very partial to is the fan art. The aesthetics of these characters is very appealing to many, as it is in a similar style to Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, as there is much overlap in creative staff between the projects. In fact, Klance is an example of a phenomenon that can occur with any ship, but tends to do so more frequently with those that are animated. That of fandom preceding actual interest in or knowledge of the work from which it hails. On the Klance video specifically, many comments addressed how the commenters had first encountered fan art seeing these two and then sought out the show to try and find out the context. In essence, coming to the show as Klance shippers already, forming an attachment based solely off of the aesthetic of the characters and the situations they were depicted in, which set up expectations for the tone of this relationship. Most of them pretty positive. So let's briefly talk about fan art. Now, for those involved in fan culture, fan art is an ingrained and extremely enjoyable part of it for most people. However, for some outside less familiar with it, its purpose/existence can sometimes be a bit perplexing. Firstly, it must be noted fan art is old, extremely old, existing long before the ability to share and collect it with such ease. For those who are artistically inclined, depicting their favorite characters as they see them in their heads, be it visually or narratively, i.e. shipping them, is a way of expressing their fandom. The love of the source material coupled with what they desire/are filling in the perceived gap/potential with. They may also be a response to other fan work, say a piece of fiction about the original work, or commissions from people who request them. Some paid, some not. And of course, this is done for all ships, not just Klance. And it doesn't only apply to shipping, there is plenty of gen art out there as well. In fact, probably more. In this way, the source material comes alive, existing beyond its original framework as fans engage not only with the work and its creators, but also with other fans, altering/creating different interpretations as they do so. This art is often created without expectation, although if an artist becomes popular enough, they can choose to capitalize on their work selling prints, and perhaps other merchandise as well. A practice that, if it becomes too successful, can enter a bit of a legal gray area, as the figures being depicted are often licensed characters. Be that as it may, and we will get to that eventually, the starting point for most people is an expression of excitement over the source material and sharing it with other fans, or even just getting the creative visions out of one's own head, regardless of how many others engage in them, or if the work is ever shared, as some fans are too shy to post their work. As with most aspects of fan culture, the ultimate goal is fun and celebration. People love Voltron, they love Klance, except for the antis and those who do not ship Klance, but whatever you ship, people want to share what they love. As with all things fandom related, there can be some controversy with this, coming from either within fan communities themselves or from interactions between fans and the actual objects of their fandom. The risk of putting oneself out there is that it doesn't always go as well as one hopes, unfortunately. However, for Klance, fan art has been a boon to fans, and for the most part fun. No, the blackmail in the title of this video comes from more official works of art. While many fans ship Klance, there are varying degrees of seriousness when it comes to how some view the ship. While many hope they are endgame, some are simply shipping with no expectation or hope of seeing it in the show. Others wouldn't mind it, but don't necessarily expect it, while others are convinced it is real and feel they are entitled to it. And others still are willing to attempt to derail the very show they claim to love in order to make this ship happen. This last statement refers to the May 2017 incident wherein Voltron's animation studio, the Korean-based Studio Mir, was blackmailed by some overzealous fans. Following a tour of the facility, some confidential storyboards, character designs, and sketches for the upcoming season were leaked online and quickly spread like wildfire, with many being unaware that they were leaked images not meant for public consumption. This being, of course, because of confidentiality agreements in place between Studio Mir and DreamWorks. The studio then asked for the images to be removed as their publication had caused them legal issues, and they were seeking all sources and attempting to have them taken down. However, at this point, a user identifying as Klance14 refused to delete the images, making demands that Klance be made canon or the pictures would remain up, and stated that they had been shared on multiple sources, not all Voltron related. Now, there are some defending Klance14 by saying they did not take the original photos, but merely reblogged them from another source, and were themselves just a kid, and were concerned that this user would find themselves doxxed and the target of retaliation. This taken by other fans who didn't agree with their actions. There are also some who feel that as the Twitter account was ultimately deleted/suspended, the incident is over and not worth mentioning, that it is being blown out of proportion and makes the fandom look bad. While others feel it is important to address and take note of such issues when they do happen, as regardless of the age of those involved, whether they be a troll or an actual shipper, it is inappropriate. A conversation that needs to be had is there were some who found these tactics completely justified based upon certain societal factors they believe can be resolved through increased representation in fictive media. Others still blame the studio for not making it explicitly clear what could and could not be photographed, as that is the narrative being shared by the original poster, who claims they had no intention to blackmail or cause any trouble and didn't take any pictures of anything they were told not to. Of course, this incident brought some undesired attention to Klance, in a way that most fans of not only the ship but the show didn't want. In fact, many more level-headed fans took to Twitter and other social media platforms to express their disgust with these actions, and rightfully pointed out that these actions could cost people their jobs and jeopardize the studio's future working relationship with DreamWorks. And a fan account was made sharing the name Klance14 for fans to share their apologies with the studio. However, already Studio Mir has changed its policy, no longer allowing any photography inside the premises. Now, there are those who claim this is the work of trolls, not legitimate shippers. However, as it is the internet, it is unclear if this is the case, as this would not be the first time shippers got overzealous when it came to seeking their headcanons become true canon. To add to all the unfortunateness of this situation, this incident will be/was some people's first introduction to the concept of shipping, and it does not paint the subculture in a positive light. This incident is also being used as an example by some of how people go about seeking representation in media, creating the image that all who seek representation are aggressive mavericks willing to do anything to get their way, even at the risk of jeopardizing production of the very show they are trying to see it implemented on. There is no doubt that this incident goes too far, and it is not the only incident of its type. Wanting to see LGBTQ representation in media is one thing. Going so far as to tweet at the production and creative teams is another. But to demand and threaten creators to try and get one's own narrative ideal placed within canon is a bridge too far, and in no way inclines creators to wanting to make this couple officially anything. While the relationship between fan and creator is not exclusively a one-way street, at the end of the day it is the creator of a work who has the authority on the direction the story takes, whether it is what the majority of fans want or not. As a fan, one cannot expect their headcanons to be made reality. They can only hope for it. And if it does not happen, that is exactly what fan culture is for, to explore the unexplored narrative gaps. It is also important as fans to not assume one's own headcanon is the majority's, and even if it is, that does not make it superior to all others' favorite couples or hopes for potential story development. In short, while shippers are a notoriously passionate bunch, it is important not to take things too far and fall into an ever-increasing belief online that the way to implement change is to bully and threaten. It must again be stated this in no way reflects the majority of Klance shippers, but those within would still say that this is a rather vocal minority. As of this recording, while it had been rumored that upcoming seasons of Voltron would feature some LGBTQ representation, it is unclear what that will be, if it is happening, and if it is Klance, which many feel is doubtful, this may give some of the creative staff some pause. Of course, this is the internet, so removing anything is extremely difficult, nigh impossible. The fans who looked and were aware of the situation got to see some of the concept art for Prince Lotor and other new characters. This was not even the only leak this production has suffered, but the trailer leak was not linked to any extreme Klance sentiment. Shipping can be quite fun, as mentioned, and easy to get caught up in, and sometimes when one is young, if the age of the user in question was accurate, one makes some rather dramatic mistakes. Whether or not one feels this user should have known better, it appears with the proliferation of access, the ramifications for one's actions loom very large indeed, and aren't limited to the individual in question, but to a whole range of other people. On the whole, however, the Klance fandom is a fun place, full of passionate individuals sharing art, fics, and more, who are just happy to enjoy Voltron regardless of whether or not Klance becomes canon. So as always, ship and let's ship. And always remember to take a breath and if necessary, take it down a notch. It can be serious business, but not that serious. Again, for those looking for even more Voltron and Klance fun, check out the Voltron Amino and get involved in the fan art contest. Submit your art with the hashtag #OriginalKlance and good luck. How do you guys feel about when incidents like this occur? Share your thoughts down below. This has been Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Special thanks to all my patrons for helping make this all possible. And as always, stay tuned, for there are as many ships out there as there are stars in the sky.